Some of you have been asking for this for a while, so here you're fucking getting it. A Q&A video, and in fact, there were so many questions I still won't be able to get to them all. I'm going to split this up into 2 parts, so try to get through a number of them, right? Let's have some fun, shall we? If you want your questions answered in future Q&A videos, as always, when I prompt them on Twitter, you got to be paying attention on Twitter. That's where I ask for the questions, then drop them there at that point. Let's go ahead and get started. Part 1. Let's go. Craig HNIC. How about an IWC OG match between you and good mic work at WrestleMania? Winner gets a kiss from the Wrestling Crush. Loser has to pick between bringing baby oil to Diddy Sell or teaching R. Kelly how to pee in a toilet. First, of all the people, why Greg? I realize we don't always see eye to eye from a pure wrestling take standpoint, but I don't have a fundamental problem with him. And in fact, I believe I saw recently he's going through some health stuff, so I legitimately sounds like it caught early. Folks were getting kind of old here, so you never know from one day to the next. And I wish him all the best, and I hope for some of you, if you're close to my age or even if you're a little younger, lesson to learn there is make sure you're making regular trips to the doctor. I can't tell you the last time that I did. Not a good thing, right? So I hope you take a lesson from that. There are many other people, if we talk about IWC OGs, that you would be much better off putting me in that scenario. Greg, no need to do that. But it feels like, Craig, you might have been thinking about this one a little too much about baby oil that Diddy Sell or R. Kelly how to pee in a toilet. Drip, 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 lift the seat. Drip, drip, drip. I want to piss on you, piss on you. Oh, God, whatever. What a way to start us off. All right, it can only fucking go downhill from here. Nebek Sid, also known as Disco Ben. All right, there we go. Do you have a greatest memory of pro wrestling, and if so, what is it? Now, I know a lot of people are going to expect me to say Sid in 2001. When Psycho Sid went on the second row because Johnny Ace told him he needed to expand his offensive repertoire. And he delivered that vicious big boot of justice from the middle turnbuckle. Bah! And as his leg is bent and shattered, they're still having the match around him. That's gotta be a top memory. But if I may, I will go in a slightly different direction here, even though you probably were expecting me to say that, and this was all a troll job just to get me to laugh about Psycho Sid breaking his leg, the fucking legend that he is. Greatest memory of pro wrestling is probably the Dan Gable Museum and their Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame weekend back in 2012. Myself and the old Off the Rope Show crew. So that's Tasteless Tony T, Mr. Rout, Marvelous Mark, Metal D, B-Rad. Who remembers B-Rad, right? All of us getting to be there for part of that weekend, and in particular, basically being Road Warrior Animal's chauffeur for the weekend. It's hard to top that memory for me, right? And I've always felt wrestling is better enjoyed in the company of others. And I found that over the years, and I think it's one of the things that has kind of impacted my joy and interest in wrestling is the fact that I'm watching it by myself. It's not the same. It doesn't carry the same vibe, doesn't have the same aura. I don't get the same enjoyment out of it, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. So that's probably the memory. Also, Psycho Sid's hard to top. K_Mutsi. Which of these WrestleMania matches is better or greater for you? Austin versus Brett at WrestleMania 13 or HBK Taker 1 at 25? Ooh. That's tough. Jeez. Taker HBK 1 obviously was fucking fantastic, but in mid-card of the fucking show. Who's a fucking idiot that thought God and Orton should main event? I realize Breakfast Club business and God makes miracles. He makes main events and seven-figure Mania paydays for himself. But somebody in the back had to say like, oh my God, it's Shawn, it's Taker, it's WrestleMania. It's Mr. WrestleMania versus the guy that's never fucking lost at WrestleMania. Nothing is going to top this fucking match. Anyways, I might give a slight edge to Austin and Brett here. Because as forgettable as WrestleMania 13 was, and frankly WrestleMania 25 is kind of forgettable too, right? Austin, Brett, like you executed a double turn there, and it was really the launch of Austin starting to become what Austin was going to be. It set Bret Hart on a trajectory for me of what was his best year in the professional wrestling industry, which was 1997. To me, he was never more relevant. He was never hotter. He was never more interesting. So I'm going to have to lean a little bit towards Austin and Brett. But everybody in the comments, feel free, like, which match would you choose? Would you choose Austin Brett, or would you choose Taker HBK 1? Next up, Armand is amazing. Should Randy Orton be the third man and join Cena and The Rock? I've had several questions about Randy Orton and who should be the third man. And of course it fucking should be. How is this even a doubt? Like, they should be obliterating the fucking roster. If he can't work with him at Mania, then fucking join him is what I got to say. And I'm sure I'm not even going to get that. I'm not going to get my Cena Orton dream match at WrestleMania. Hashtag once in a lifetime. Hashtag this time it counts. So I know I'm not going to get that either. Corliss Rush. I have a question. How's the fur baby Summer? She is very good. She is living life, enjoying herself. She's probably laying on one of her beds, snoring right now, as a matter of fact. She'll be 12 in June. That's crazy to think about, right? So just trying to enjoy her company, enjoy her time. And you never know, she might make an appearance sometime later this year. It's Bergen-esque. Who do you feel is the most overrated wrestler to date and why? Dean, I almost said Dean Ambrose. John Moxley. Does he move the needle for any fucking buddy? Really? Like, it seems like to me he's at the top of AEW and it's not good for business. And yet he keeps getting pounded and pounded into that fucking spot. So, like, without me thinking about it more, the first wrestler that comes to mind is John Moxley. Now, we of course know who I would say on the women's side. That was the men's side, right? But the women's side, that's a clear number one. And that's, oh no, I don't. Is that even a clear number one anymore? Like, Charlotte Flair sucks really, really bad. She is overrated, overforced, overpushed, and all of that. But how do you not include Mercedes Moné in that conversation? Like, that one I'm not so sure of. Like, they both fit, but if you have to choose one, I don't fucking know. And that's how bad it is with those two. But I think for the men, to me, it's a clear number one. It's fucking Moxley. Real Ziggy 22, what's good, Schleg Daddy? Question number one, considering recent events, would The Rock be considered a member of the Breakfast Club? No. I wouldn't go that far. And two, how good did Jade look at Elimination Chamber? Oh. Yeah. Moving on. There might be kids watching. I ain't fucking kids watching at this point. I'm too old for kids to be like, yeah, let me watch this old fucking fogey in his 40s talk about wrestlings. The Tommaso O'Brien. If someone else is going to join The Rock as a heel, who do you think it would be? I'm guessing Drew or Rollins. His name is Randall Keith Orton, damn it. That's it. It has to be the one. I know it's not going to be, but don't ruin this dream for me. I've already had enough other dreams ruined. Jay Abreu 9. In today's wrestling landscape, are there any wrestlers who, in your opinion, just have it? P.S. What's Dino Bravo up to these days? First, to your question. Jacob Fatu, Ron Breaker, or two. Who's the guy at NXT? Is that Oba, whatever? Admittedly, I don't watch NXT, but I seem to have been told like he would be somebody that I think has it, so I might have to actually check it out to see like ultimate it factor. And I'm focusing less on like Roman's such an obvious fucking answer. The Rock is such an obvious answer. He, heel new character Cena, yeah, right. So that was one's kind of obvious. Um, but yeah, in terms of it, the first two that I think of from a WWE standpoint would be Fatu and would be Breaker. And what's Dino Bravo up to these days? He's dead. Wee wee, smoke them if you got them. Bang bang! Bang bang! Bang bang! Bang bang! Well, I guess technically that is historically accurate. Was that 8 gunshots? So bang bang! Bang bang! Oh ho ho! Bang bang! Bang bang! Bang bang! He's dead. That's what he's up to these days. Christian Mingle. Jeff, honestly, is being single the worst thing in the world? How do you fight the loneliness that comes with it at times? Uh, no, you know what? Being single can absolutely be a great thing. Now, as humans, we are like pack creatures and we need that companionship of others. And life ultimately is much better with a loving partner. Let's be totally clear here. However, like, if for one reason or another you can't find it, then stop looking for it. And I know it says like da da da, that's what everybody always fucking says, because it's kind of true though. When you stop looking for it, you find it, right? That's so often how it works in life. It also depends on like where you're at in your life, because if you're not in a place where you are financially, as a man, right, financially, mentally, physically, emotionally stable, then introducing somebody else into that mix is not going to solve the problems. If anything, it's just going to make it worse. Yeah, like the loneliness that comes with it at times, yeah, certainly, right? And I feel it out here in Virginia because it's just me and the damn, the 2 dogs and the cat at this point, right? Um, but that's the break sometimes, right? And that's how life goes. And I think you find, your own path where you say like, these are the things that I'm going to focus on, and you find yourself hobbies. And like, for me, every once in a while I think about it a little bit, and then the thought quickly goes away because I'm like, I got to continue to plow ahead in my career path. I'm less than 2 months away from getting my bachelor's degree finally, right? Like, and I'm playing a ton of golf, and like, I'm finding things to occupy my time. And frankly, and this might come a little bit, admittedly, Christian, from being middle-aged, where I'm just like, if I haven't figured it out by now, in terms of like the whole relationship and woman thing, it just might not be the right time for me, and leave it alone. And really, truly just kind of focus on myself. Almost kind of like a woman in that way, right? When they go through their kind of selfish hoe phase. But I'm not doing the hoeing. I'd rather just be left the fuck alone. And maybe that's just coming from being like a bitter old man at this point. But women have helped create that environment. But at the end of the day, it's my own goddamn fault. Because I'm the one that made the poor choices. I'm the one that didn't set the accountability from the beginning. I'm the one that didn't do a lot of things. So, I think it all depends on your perspective. Here's the one thing I will call out though, is if you were seeking, and this is a problem in this culture and society today, if you were seeking your validation and your love and acceptance from others, then you have some real underlying problems. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I mean that to be realistic. Like, that's not a good place. You got to look within you. You got to find happiness within yourself first. Because if you can't find it for yourself, how the fuck do you expect somebody else, honestly, is going to help you be able to find that? You know what I mean? But yeah, it does suck sometimes. I will acknowledge that. And you've got to be like mentally strong enough to be able to kind of shut off some of those feelings and emotions and not be so concerned about what the world says or what some of the things you say. Like, I will tell you, like, sometimes where it's awkward is I should go to the movies more by myself, but it always feels kind of fucking awkward and I'm a little self-conscious about it, I'll admit. Going to a restaurant, you see a bunch of couples there, and then you're like a single guy sitting there. It's like, it's fucking awkward. Also kind of boring, frankly, right? But yeah, like, so what? Right? Like, do good shit in your life and things will happen to work out. and they go sometimes in a different direction than you may have anticipated. I hope that helps, Christian. Star of the Egoffs. Do you believe in Joe Hendry? I believe in Joe Hendry. Why not? Like, for him to get that fucking type of reaction at the Royal Rumble, there has to be something there, right? I haven't paid much attention to him, and I haven't watched much of his work, but clearly there's fucking something. So I have to believe in Joe Hendry, don't you? The Metal Smart asks, why do you almost never wear the pen anymore? See this? See this? It's back! And why did you wear it anyways? It was in tribute to my old high school cross country and track coach. Because he always used to have the pencil in his ear when he'd be writing down our splits and everything else at practice, right? So I picked it up from him. It became a habit, and I still do it to this day, even when I'm at work. I just haven't done it as much on camera all the years for reasons I really don't fucking know. And 2, when he used to call John Cena by his full name, John Felix Anthony Cena, was that your spin on Skip Bayless always saying Thomas Edward Patrick Brady? I'm going to tell you this much, and this is going to sound like bullshit, but it is absolutely true. I did not know until you put this in the question that Skip Bayless used to go full government with Tom Brady. I did not know that legitimately. As typically when I would see clips involving Skip Bayless, it would be more around hating on LeBron, doing the Lord's work, and talking about his Dallas Cowboys. That's what I would remember. That's where the clips that I would see. So I did not know he did that. So no, it wasn't related to that. It was just something that I did. PLH 1811. Which 3 black lesbian porn stars would have the best triple threat in WrestleMania history? Now here's where we get to the important, hard-hitting questions. 3 black lesbian porn stars that would have the best WrestleMania triple threat. Jada Fire absolutely has to be in there. Because if they get parched mid-match, then she could squirt and they could all get hydrated, right? Man, it just makes sense to me. I'm just saying. Probably Anna Fox would be number 2. And then number 3, maybe Misty Stone? Yeah, maybe. That feels like that'd be a pretty good trio right there. Misty's somebody working her over and giving her the business. They'd be trying to back it up into her. She'd be like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And a lot of guys would be like, oh my goodness. So let's go with those 3. Jada Fire, Anna Fox, Misty Stone. There we go. Trinell Sally asks, should John Cena just come out and admit everything the internet has ever just said about him? Like, I buried the Nexus in 2010 and I did that shit on purpose? Fucking yes. He said, fuck CM Punk. I ruined that shit on purpose. Fuck Wade Barrett in the Nexus. I did that on purpose because it's about me, damn it. People would believe it. It would be fantastic. Oh, yeah. Have him talk about how many people he's buried over the years and how he can't wait to bury Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because you would buy it. You would believe it, right? It'd be fantastic. Breakfast Club business running strong, still in the year of our Lord, 2025. Ugh. And then Al Dandy is going to close out part 1 of the Q&A today by asking, who was bigger in 2008-2009, Barack Obama or Jeff Hardy? Now, obviously, technically, the answer is Barack Obama. But, there is something to say here about, this is even a question that people would take legitimately. Just speaks to, how insanely popular and over Jeff Hardy was in that stretch of time. He was the top star in the company. Fuck a Cena or anybody else. He was the top guy. He really was. Understand the question. Obviously, it's Barack Obama. But, Jeff Hardy was certainly, that was at the power and peak of his career for sure. So thank you, everybody that submitted your questions for part 1. Part 2 will probably be up in a day or 2.